What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another stock market update. Things went up, things went down. Regardless, man, you guys need to stick around and learn about it. This is not financial advice, by the way. I'm talking about the stock market over Valorant gameplay. It's for entertainment. Without further ado, let's go. Tesla's on fire, shoddy.
I'm getting quiet now, laying low when you reach, so I'm piping down, making albums, stack the bread.
Alright, so today was the first trading day of the year, 2022, off with a bang, and it seems like quite a few companies had a pretty solid day, including Tesla. I expected them to cool off a little bit. Looks like I'm looking stupid. Tesla stock jumps after reporting record vehicle deliveries for 2021. Honestly, one thing that a lot of people had been saying about Tesla stock that I had been seeing everywhere was that, as soon as competition increases, they're going to have a hard time selling cars, and the stock price is going to crumble. And it's looking like those people definitely did a bit of an underestimation on how popular Tesla is, because apparently they had record vehicle delivery, which sure, more competition is coming, but if they can offset the competition by continuously selling more cars than they did the quarter before, that's still a pretty good business to be in. It did cause the stock price to jump quite a bit just because, people weren't really expecting it. So if you have any Tesla stock, there you go. You're probably a happy camper right now. Next up, we're going over to another giant tech company. Well, if you can consider Tesla a tech company. We're going over to Apple, though. Apple's wearable gadget business grew like gangbusters over the holidays. Honestly, I'm not too surprised, dude. I think the new headphones and the fact that people who don't have AirPods still are probably going to be grabbing them meant that they were always going to have a good holiday season. If there's one thing you can rely on, it's Apple selling a lot of crap around Christmas. I'm not saying that in an insulting way. You guys know I like the company Apple. It's just a fact. If anyone's going to sell a buttload of stuff right now, it's going to be them. Especially the wearables department, just because that's something that I feel like a lot of people are finally coming around to actually getting involved in. A lot of people were reluctant about smartwatches for a while. A lot of people were reluctant about, the wireless earbuds, all that stuff. I think people are finally coming around, and if you're buying a smartwatch, it tends to be the Apple Watch is one of the first ones that pops into the mind. They do a pretty good job at that, Let's think about the names for their products. Apple Watch, iPhone, if you think about any of these products, it literally is half the name. Think of a smartphone, iPhone's definitely popping up. Think of a smartwatch, I guarantee you Apple Watch is one of the first ones you're gonna think of. So yeah, I'm not too surprised they had a good holiday season. I think if it does surprise you that the biggest company on the planet had a good Christmas time, then maybe the stock market isn't for you. Alright, now our next story, sticking with the whole technology thing, it looks like chips and computer parts in general are gonna have an increased demand next year. Not so sure about the supply part, so expect to not get a PS5 or graphics card even longer now. Chip sales are set to grow nearly 10% in 2022 as risks rise, predicts new report. Obviously, I understand that, the shortages going on right now in the chip department having to do with manufacturing, getting everything we need. Obviously, we're not going to disappear overnight. If you have a huge backlog of orders, it's going to take a long time to eventually get through those. That being said, it's going to take even longer if we continue to offset the increased, productivity with increased demand. Sure, we might be making 5% more chips than we did last year, but if the demand has increased 10%, everybody's actually just still in a crappier situation than we were, What I think really has to happen is we just finally have to eat the bullet and realize we gotta have some chip production facilities over here, A lot of them are hyper-concentrated in one or two countries, and I'm sure it's great for those countries' economy, but I feel like computer chips and that type of stuff at this point is just so crucial to basically everything we make. It should be a requirement that we have to have the ability to make them here. Just because, I wouldn't always want to have to rely on other countries for medicine too. What if they just decide to stop liking us tomorrow? I think maybe being able to manufacture chips yourself is probably a good thing for the stability of your economy overall, especially because with that increased demand, obviously they're going to prioritize local companies. Why wouldn't they, Our next story also has to do with technology. I'm sorry, I did not realize how many of the stories had to do with this, okay? I did my bad, all right? It just is what it is. It's kind of dominating the market right now. 2022 will be the do or die moment for Congress to take action against big tech. All right, last year there was a lot of posturing about breaking up tech companies because they have too much influence, a little bit too monopolistic, and I'm not going to get into whether or not I agree with that. I think there's certain companies that maybe abuse their position and take advantage of how large they are. I think that's a fact. You can't argue with that. That being said, it will be interesting to see if Congress actually will do anything about it. I think this article's got a good point. We're probably reaching terminal velocity in terms of, like, if you don't stop Amazon now and they get bigger, how do you stop them then? You know, I do think there's something to be said for this maybe being the last moment where it would still be easy and, you know, somewhat feasible to break up a lot of these large tech companies. And I do think we have to just be honest and look at a lot of these companies and realize that, yeah, they're probably not great for society overall. What is it? Meta, Facebook, whatever they're called now, that, like, keeps having whistleblowers come out and talk about how they don't care about society as long as people stay on the website, you know, and they purposely are, like, getting kids addicted to their apps so that way they're always gonna have people in a user base. I'm just saying, companies like that maybe do need a little bit of regulation. I don't think every tech company on the planet deserves to get shut down and overregulated, but yeah, some of them maybe just are kind of evil companies at this point. And if you have a chance to poop on the evil company before it takes over the world, it's probably important to do it a little bit. Moving out of the realm of technology in this context and into something else from the future, I wanted to talk a little bit about cryptocurrency. For those of you that have been living under a rock, crypto's been doing pretty crazy, and when crypto does well, you know, it's just obvious that regulation is right around the corner, and a lot of these major crypto exchanges are now starting to try to, like, kiss up to different governments to try to get favorable regulatory stances. Who can blame them? The world's largest crypto exchange, Binance, is trying to woo France. Obviously, France is one of the largest economies in Europe, from the way I understand it, now that Britain has left, or the UK has left the EU. It's Germany and France kind of running the show economy-wise over there, just from the sheer size. So if you're going to be the biggest exchange and one of the biggest markets on the planet, chances are you're going to have to be kissing a little bit of butt to the biggest governments there. And listen, all in all, yeah, if you want the government to look at you favorably, you probably should have to work better with them. It just is what it is. The government's in charge of regulation. Being nice to the government is a better way to have people on your side. I especially think Binance is probably getting a little bit nervous. I just know that the Binance token itself is probably going to make regulation for them a little bit more complicated. You're not as much as just a brokerage responsible for trading crypto back and forth. If you own one of the 5 biggest cryptos in the planet with a $100 billion, excuse me, dollar market cap, it makes sense that maybe they're going to be a little bit more eyes on you regulation perspective wise. And it also makes sense that they're kissing up more in Europe because sure, the US does have regulation. We tend to be a little bit nicer and more friendly to businesses over here. The EU does not play around, bro. Like, what, did they find Amazon $1 billion? You know, over here in the United States, you break the rules, you might get fined like 3 Pop-Tarts. In the EU, they will actually punish you, so that's probably why they're spending so much time focusing on getting their relationships in order over there. But probably a good step in the right direction for Binance. In our last story, one article I found was basically just all the major banks talking about what they expect to happen over the next year. And, you know, this isn't financial advice or anything. I just figured I'd summarize most of them because there was quite a few. I think the way to sum it up best, you know, the excerpt I found that was just the best summary overall came from Goldman Sachs. A couple other banks disagreed, but this was the overall consensus. We expect less impressive returns for risky assets in line with a more mature cycle, with the best opportunities in macro divergence and cycle longevity after the synchronized rapid rebound in 2021. Our economists expect inflation to moderate, and our rate strategists expect only a modest rise in long-term rates throughout 2022. So, you know, if you get it, you get it. If not, I'm going to translate. Basically, what they're saying is we know that the Federal Reserve, the people in charge of printing money in the United States, are going to raise rates. We don't think it's going to be insane. You know, it's going to be a moderate rise, which should cool things down a little bit, but not a ton. Obviously, the rapid rebound of the economy last year means that it was an insane year for the stock market. Your money's going to grow, just not as fast as it did last year, because the overall cycle is just getting a little bit more mature. We're seeing interest rates rise. It's not like we're in the boom part of the cycle anymore, which I think overall is a pretty fair, evaluation. I do think it's going to be a good year for equities overall. If there is inflation, things tend to do pretty well, especially in the stock market. Just based on history, obviously, historical performance doesn't indicate future results, and this is not financial advice, it's entertainment. But yeah, I could see a situation where overall this year is a good year, but not as strong as last year. I think that's probably what it's going to be shaping up to be. But on that note, guys, that's all the news that I've got for you guys today involving the stock market. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought. And of course, subscribe if you're new. Turn on notifications. If you want to be an absolute G, a link to the intro songs down below, along with a link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast. Or of course, you could use code Scrubae at the G Fuel checkout. Great way to get a discount on G Fuel. Help me out at the same time. I'd appreciate it. But yeah, on that note, guys, that'll do it. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. Hopefully, I'll see you guys all next time. And I'm out. Peace.